7th day of September 2025. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and for waking up with us. This is Morning Cafe. My name is Anne Odida.
Yes, indeed, 24 years since the fateful events in the US where terrorists attacked the Twin Towers. September 11th, on 8 or 9/11. Yes. So a lot of content even in our local newspapers about the terrorism that happened in the US back in 2001. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. Karibu sana. This is a Morning Cafe.
All right, let's take a look at the local dailies now. We start off with the Standard. Assassins on wheels.
And looks like a movie poster here. Ukiangalia kuna jamaa kutuna mabunduki pale. Same story there on the front page of the Daily Nation. How slain lawyer was ambushed.
Taifa Leo, boda maficho ya majambazi. Same story.
A different story on the front page of the Star. EACC attacks prosecutor as ODPP defense dropped cases. Matters fight against corruption, but still, that assassination of a lawyer earlier this week still features on the front page of the Star.
People Daily, Gen Zs now want the throne in 2027.
Matters Business, how Kenya Power will pay homes and farms for blackouts. That's a Business Daily.
All right, we'll be back to take a look at the local dailies.
For State of the Nation, Wilson Sossion, the former Secretary General of the National Union of Teachers, will be in studio alongside Dr. Peter Mbeere, the Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP, and Peter Mutoko Mutua, a leadership and governance expert. Do stand by for this conversation as we take a look at the big headlines today, starting at 6:30.
All right, being a Thursday, we'll be talking matters health, and we'll be having Dr. Ashni Maldi to talk about regenerative medicine. It deals with stem cells, platelets, plasma, all of that. She'll be here to tell us more.
Nimeona aesthetic doctor. Kafikiria sasa aesthetics ni wale wanafanya inaitwa BBL.
Yes. It also falls in that category. So I think it's just a broad subject, and she'll break it down for us. Tukivuka border, we start off in Uganda. Daily Monitor, where NSSF lost your money. Where NSSF made and lost your money. This is Uganda. Money matters as the National Social Security Fund prepares to announce the interest rate for its savers this month. This newspaper takes a tour of the firm's investment portfolios over the past 1 year to gauge where money came and where it went. NSSF, Uganda. Sidhani ni ya Kenya hii. Museveni hosts Aga Khan V, and today he's on the front page of this newspaper, Daily Monitor. From left to right, those leaders are right here on the front page, including the First Lady of Uganda. That is Janet Museveni. Other stories here. NUP, UPC, Conservative Party return presidential nomination forms to the Electoral Commission. Kony hearing children held guns in place of pencils. And Constitution at 30 still given prominence in this newspaper. Was the 1995 consensus a myth? Is a question they ask there on page 34. On the top strip, new faces proposed for court-martial. And this publication understands Brigadier General Richard Tukachungura has been named chairman of the General Court Martial, while Colonel Raphael Mugisha will serve as the judge advocate. And that's the Daily Monitor this morning.
Staying in Uganda, we take a look at the new vision, talking about the 11 presidential aspirants who have handed in their voters' lists. So each contestant has submitted 11 names of seconders from 98 districts. Nile tu yani proceedings zile za Electoral Commission. Nakwambia even if chama chako kimekubali wewe ndio presidential candidate, there are other things you need to do. Hapa, you need to present 100 names and signatures from people who are seconding your nomination from 98 districts. It's not easy. 98 districts across Uganda. So these are the 11 aspirants who are facing off. There's actually 10. The 11th one is Yoweri Museveni himself. Of course, he'll also have to present the names and signatures of 100 people from those 98 districts. But Robert Chagulani is there. The one person we would have been hoping to see is Kiza Besije, but huyo akona kesi kama kule Tanzania vile Tundu Lissu akona kesi hayuko pale. So at least if you want to know the 11 people or the 11 people who are vying for presidency in Uganda come 2026, they're there on the front page of the new vision, including Bobi Wine. President Museveni is up there. Leo akupewa space hapa chini when he met His Highness the Aga Khan V, who's visiting Uganda. That story at NSSF also features here on the front page. NSSF savers eye higher returns. And rare earth metals found in Lamu, Karamoja. These are just some of the stories making headlines in Uganda, according to the New Vision.
We cross over to Tanzania now. Gazeti la Mwananchi, vifo vya kujiua vyashika kasi. Yesterday was World Suicide Prevention Day. Anasema kwamba utafiti wa taasisi ya Mirembe waibua mazito, mamlaka zinazohusika zatakiwa kuchukua hatua haraka. Wizara ya Afya yaeleza inachofanya kukabiliana na tatizo. Idadi ya vifo vya watu kujiua vilivyoripotiwa katika kipindi cha miezi 18 kwa mkoa wa Dodoma pekee ni 1141 kutokana na sababu mbalimbali.
That's a huge number.
It is. And men are most affected. Like women, we think about it, we don't do it, but men, you actually think about it and do it.
Go ahead, do it.
Mnyukano hoja za kisheria kesi ya Tundu Lissu, habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 5. INEC yatoa angalizo kauli za kulinda kura, na Tume Huru ya Taifa ya Uchaguzi INEC imeonya wanasiasa wanaotoa kauli mbalimbali za kuhamasisha. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 4. Samia tangaza neema mpya mradi wa maji Ziwa Victoria, more manifestos. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 2, manifestos za Samia Suluhu. And ZEC yabaini jambo kwa Othman, watano wajitoa kule Unguja, Tanzania. Unajua kuna Unguja huko Siaya.
Oh.
Yes, it's in home.
No, but ile Siaya inaitwa Ugunja.
Unguja. Okay. Wakati mgombea urais wa Zanzibar kupitia chama cha ACT Wazalendo Othman Masoud Othman amepewa muda hadi leo kuhakiki wadhamini, chama hicho kimetoa taarifa kikisema kimekamilisha na kinasubiri uzinduzi wa kampeni. Gazeti la Mwananchi.
Tukisalia kule Bongo, gazeti la The Citizen, masuala ya biashara yamepewa kipaumbele hapa. Anasema DSCC anasema hivi: Tanzania poised to be sustainable capital hub. So Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange Chief Executive Peter Nalitolela says Tanzania has made remarkable progress on green and social bonds, with about 45% of all corporate and subnational bonds issued in the last 5 years being sustainability bonds. So matters business, and you can read more on that on the Business Daily pullout in this paper, and you have the image there of the CEO of the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. But matters politics still getting space on the front page. Samia says war on corruption has delivered real development, and you have the president there, the CCM Union presidential candidate Samia Suluhu Hassan, addressing a campaign rally in Nzega, Tabora region yesterday. Rising suicide cases, a wake-up call for Tanzania. They say about 1,141 cases in 18 months. And that's 1.5 years. That's a lot of people dying to suicide. CRDB Bank Foundation, Mazao Hub agreement to benefit 500,000 farmers. That's another story there on the front page of The Citizen. So even as they talk about business, politics is still getting a mention here or there as they continue with their official campaigns. Remember, elections in Tanzania, October 29th.
That's right. Let's take a look at the weather situation across various parts. And the country will start off in Homa Bay. Huku Homa Bay jua waka sana. This morning, it's 21 degrees, feels like 24, light rain expected. Highs of 26 degrees, this is comfortable. Precipitation in Homa Bay today, 2.0 millimeters. That's the weather in Homa Bay. We go to Mbeere.
In Mbeere, Mount Kenya region, it is 14 degrees Celsius, promises to be a cloudy day, highs of 24 degrees, which is quite warm, even for this region. Precipitation there, 0.4 millimeters, way lower than what we are seeing in Homa Bay, but a cloudy day nonetheless.
All right, Marsabit this morning, it's 19 degrees, feels like 23. It's a mostly cloudy day today, highs of 30 degrees. Precipitation here, 0.0 millimeters.
All right, maeneo ya Masai Mara kule Narok, 13 degrees currently. It'll get as hot as 24 degrees later in the afternoon, but promises to be a mostly cloudy day. 0 chances of rain in Narok today, so it's a beautiful day to go to the Masai Mara.
Kule Coast Diani, this morning it's 23 degrees, feels like 25. It's a mostly cloudy day as well. Highs of 27 degrees in Diani, and precipitation is 1.8 millimeters.
So far, I think the Lake Victoria region has the most rainfall.
Yes.
Yes. And finally, Nairobi, 14 degrees, It's a cloudy day, they say, highs of 26. 26 is actually quite high, but next week promises to be even higher at 27. This will persist even into the weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, highs of 20. In kama hata itachange. So whatever you feel today is what you'll feel tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, only changing when it comes to Monday. Chances of rain in Nairobi today?
0.1.
0.1. So a lot of the rainfall probably around the Lake Victoria Basin. Yeah.
Haya, tuangalie traffic sasa. Today being Thursday. Thursday is the new Friday.
So in as far as the traffic is concerned, most major roads are not problematic, but for this time of day, Thika Road, that Pangani interchange is already promising to be troublesome this morning. That traffic is stretching as far back as the KCA University. Usually it's just centered around the interchange. Kwa hivyo watu wa Thika Road, leo kutakuwa na delay. Once umepita Allsops ukifika KCA University, that utterly drift at survey. Yote. In fact, the red part is actually at upper opposite NYS, pale Mathare Mental Hospital, before you get to Pangani Interchange. Meaning, kama hujafika town and you're coming from areas around Thika Road, utaumia. The other people who are going to have a lot of trouble are people coming from Kiambu Road, especially beyond Fourways. Because that construction that's happening at the Fourways, just beyond the Fourways junction, if you're coming from areas around the Ndigwa, Kiambu, and Kirigiti, is still on. They have dug the whole road. Now wanaweka culverts. And one would think that this is something they do in a day. They're taking a whole week to do it. So they formed some diversions upande na upande. I'm telling you, by 7, hapa kutakuwa kunapitika. Kama hujafika town from Kiambu Road now, please, if you can, avoid the Fourways junction. The other areas of this road, Mombasa Road ni kama siku hizi inanga shida. Nafikiri huwa inafunikiwa na ile expressway. Southern Bypass, not bad. Langata Road, Raila Odinga Highway, as well as Ngong Road into town, it's good. Wayakio, which is the other major tributary into the city, is looking green as well, all the way into the CBD. So nothing much to worry about. Other areas like Jogoo Road, ni kama hata leo it's green all the way. Yeah, Makadara ile kawaida pale red and yellow, but Machakos bus station is okay. Haile Selassie Avenue kama kawaida, it's just getting busy because matatus are getting into town through that route. So nothing out of the ordinary, but watu wa Thika Road na Kiambu Road, nyinyi ndio muko na ngori leo, poleni sana, but good morning.
All right, that's the traffic situation, 12 minutes past 6 a.m. Let's have the quote of the day.
Without questioning our choices, beliefs, and actions, life loses meaning. True fulfillment arises from self-reflection, conscious growth, and understanding our purpose in this world.
Let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. Assassination on wheels is the main headline on the front page of the Standard this morning. In cold blood, Nairobi lawyer Matthew Kyalo Mbobu was on his way home when he was shot in the head by a gunman on a border. Not only was a family man killed, but also a lawyer, lecturer, and philanthropist eliminated. This is Nairobi's new face of terror, gun-toting assassins on motorbikes, cutting down lawyers, MPs, and businessmen in broad daylight, leaving a trail of blood, grief, and unanswered questions. The murder in Karen is the latest in a chilling pattern that exposes a broken security system and a police force that appears clueless in the face of such brutality. Other recent drive-by murders: on May 2nd, Kasipul Member of Parliament Charles Ongondo Were was killed by gunmen on a motorbike in Ngong Road in Nairobi. In May 2016, controversial businessman Jacob Juma was shot dead near the Ngong Road Karen interchange, hapo tu karibu na ya Kyalo. In 2015, the Kabete MP George Muchai and his 2 bodyguards and the driver were shot in Nairobi CBD. According to Nzao Musau, is an advocate and friend of Kyalo, he said he helped so many people and he never spoke about it. Actually, on the morning of the day he died, he offered to make copies of his evidence book for donation to South Eastern University School of Law. This story has been covered on page 4 and 5, assassinations on wheels. his mother is very devastated. Just 80 years old. Alikuwa interviewed and she had nothing to say at all about it. On the inside pages of this newspaper, how U.S. terror strike changed Kenya and global security outlook. 9/11, 24 years ago, 4 planes crashed into iconic buildings in the U.S. and changed the world forever. And terror was visited on the globe, and Kenya was not spared the painful episode and consequences. A security expert says Kenyans like being resistant and they get through to guards when asked to open bags or cars, but security is not something we must compromise. Guards must do their work professionally and politely, but Kenyans must also cooperate. Baringo math teachers beats the odds to win top continental award is another story on the inside page, on page 3 of this newspaper. Ruto pals president who eats, sleeps and dreams of changing how everything is done. Ruto scored at 3. It marks 3 years since he took the oath of office this Saturday, the 13th. Still on that, Ruto flaunts his PhD and political acumen, but critics won't hear of it. Other stories here, EACC to senators, let us take our cases all the way through court. And the anti-graft agency raised concerns of unilateral withdrawal of corruption cases without consulting the commission. The agency's chair claimed some cases are withdrawn without calling a single EACC witness. And according to the chair, who is David Oginda, he says he was among those complaining about corruption cases, but after joining EACC, he can say that the teams work hard. On the back page of the Standard, why Ogami is a shining light in the World Cup heartbreak, and strikers scored twice against Seychelles on Tuesday after scoring in the loss to Gambia. It is another painful exit in World Cup qualifiers for Harambee Stars, despite win on a Tuesday. That's the Standard this morning.
It's a similar story on the front page of the Daily Nation. They stay with that assassination of that lawyer, how slain lawyer was ambushed. So this is indeed a big deal because it has happened quite a number of times. They even quote that MP Charles Were was murdered in similar drive-by shooting in May of this year. Now, what the Daily Nation has done is that it has broken down the chronology of events in this lawyer's life on that dark Tuesday. Started at 6 a.m. He arrived in his office in town along Kaunda Street. At 7, he walked to the Holy Family Basilica for morning mass. At 8, he returned to his office to attend to clients. 1 p.m., he did not even eat lunch in the office. He stepped out for a meeting within the city center. He was back at 2 p.m. to finish his work. By 4:30, he bid his staff farewell and left for home via Langata Road. 6:30, he was killed in a drive-by shooting along Magadi Road by gunmen who reportedly trailed him from Galleria. And they have the vehicle there of that lawyer. So the horror of gangland-style executions resurfaced on Tuesday evening when senior lawyer Matthew Chalo Mbobu was shot dead by gunmen as he drove to his Karen home. He was waylaid on his regular route barely 2 hours after leaving the city center office. The story extensively covered on pages 2 and 3, where they'll talk about how the killers used a lawyer's schedule to stage the ambush, the grief-stricken family speaking about the lawyer's demands, the lawyer and demanding for a speedy probe, and colleagues remembering Bobo as a brilliant lecturer who was quite affable. There is an interesting story I've seen here on page 11, and they say that obese children have outnumbered starving ones for the very first time. Yeah? So children and adolescents living with obesity have outnumbered those who are underweight for the first time ever. The historic shift that has made obesity the most prevalent form of malnutrition globally. You know, people don't think that obesity is malnutrition. Sema ule jamaa ameshiba, ule ako na afya.
Healthy, anakaa vizuri.
Ati very healthy boys, na kumbe ni. That's malnutrition. Malnutrition tu si kukosa kula. Yeah? So they say the data, it shows that globally, 1 in 5 children and adolescents aged between 5 and 19, totaling about 391 million people, are now overweight, with most classified as living with obesity. In 2025, an estimated 188 million children and adolescents aged between 15 and 19 are living with obesity, compared to 184 million who are underweight. Kitambo shida ilikuwanga, in the 80s and 90s, shida ilikuwanga starvation, drought. They were painting Africa ni kama kuna shida ya chakula. If you look at a lot of coverage of Africa at that time, it was about children who are starving. Sasa wenye wameshiba zaidi, wamekula junk ndio wengi zaidi, which is still an illness.
That's according to UNICEF.
Yes.
Nalisha watoto burgers sana.
Sana. Wanasema junk food is too accessible. Yes. Sasa hii kwanza ile drive through. Unapita t-shirt leta ngapi? Back page, yes, a lot of focus on Harambee Stars following that win against Seychelles. McCarthy praises clinical stars after Seychelles' victory. And he says beating the Islanders gives them something good to build on ahead of the next match. Right, that's the Daily Nation.
Tukisonga mbele, Taifa Leo, boda maficho ya majambazi ni swali. Wakili na msomi wa sheria ni mwathiriwa wa hivi karibuni zaidi kuuawa na watu waliotoroka kwa pikipiki. Kuuawa kwa kupigwa risasi kwa wakili mashuhuri, mhadhiri na mchapishaji wa vitabu vya sheria Matthew Kelumbobu jijini Nairobi Jumanne usiku kumefufua kumbukumbu za visa sawa na hivyo, ambapo watu wamekuwa wakiuawa na kuporwa na watu wanaotumia pikipiki. Kwa hapa katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili, Mbobu Kyalo Jennifer Wambua, huyu ni afisa wa National Lands Commission aliyeuawa. Aliyekuwa mbunge wa Kasipu Charles Ong'ondo Were na vile mfanyakazi wa NHIF Mary Lilian Waithera wa miaka 47.
Nakumbuka alipokufa Charles Ong'ondo Were because alikuwa ni mbunge. Wabunge waliongea mengi sana na wakasema this should not happen again. Wakasema polisi hawafanyi kazi zao na tunafaa wakue waangalifu zaidi. Lakini ukiangalia mambo yanaendelea, system ni ile ile, washagundua kumbe ni rahisi kufanya hii kazi.
Yeah. Nakumbuka Mary Lilian, when she was assassinated, it died down. Nakumbuka ilikuwa
ilisha tu ikasawalika ile sniper.
Ile sniper kule juu, I've forgotten that road. Somewhere around that Hilton arcade. Vidokezo zaidi, alivyoponea kutafunwa na mamba. Mvulana aliyenusurika kifo aendelea kupokea matibabu hospitalini. Makindu Makueni wavuna kwa makaa ya kinyesi. Vijana kisiwani Lamu wapata donge kwa kugeuza kinyesi cha punda kuwa makaa ya kupikia. Na international news pale, Trump akaripia Netanyahu. Hii ni kuhusiana na mashambulizi yaliyotekelezwa dhidi ya Hamas nchini Qatar. Kule juu, madiwani waponda Raila mazishini. MCAs wamkosoa kinara wa ODM kwa kumtekeleza mbunge aliyekuwa mfuasi wake sugu. Na aliyehepa Gachagua aenda kwa Moses Kuria. Mshirika wa Gachagua mtoroka na kujiunga na chama cha kazi chake Moses Kuria.
Na hapa ni kuhusiana na uchaguzi ndogo unaokuja. Kule Mbeere North.
Yes. Kulikuwa
na candidate wa DCP, lakini eventually wakasema now because they're in the united opposition they'll not field the candidate. They'd rather support the candidate from the Democratic Party, which is Justin Muturi's party.
Yeah.
Jamaa kasirika sana. Kasirika sana akaenda chama cha kazi.
Yes. Walisema the former MP alikuwa pia member of Democratic Party.
Wacha tutakuja sababu nani Dr. Peter Mbeere will be here tamuliza hilo swali. He is a Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at DCP. The kind of fallout that will come with this by-election. Remember, by the end of this month lazima watu wakue tayari. Kila mtu amepeana candidates wao. Ready for the by-election on November 29. 27th or 29th.
Thereabout. That's Taifa Leo.
On the Star, they talk about something different. Of course, the main story, kuna ile pale wamecover pale, why did he die? That's a lawyer who was assassinated in a drive-by shooting along Magadi Road. Cops are retracing lawyers' steps. The Daily Nation already has done that, and they even say that he was tracked or trailed from the, what do you call it, Galleria. That section of Galleria. So the body of lawyer, there's a photo there, and I don't know why they've shared this grisly picture. The body of the lawyer, Chalo Mbobu, lying inside his car after he was shot dead by a hitman, riding on a motorcycle. I don't know if that is the kind of photo you want to see on the front pages. But the main story is about EACC attacking the prosecutor, ODPP, as ODPP defends dropped cases. Hii imekuwa swali kuu sana. Watu wanasema EACC wanafanya uchunguzi, DCI wanafanya uchunguzi, wanapeleka watu, alafu wana hand over all the cases to the ODPP to prosecute. Kidogo ODPP anasema I've withdrawn. So EACC is saying high profile corruption cases collapse are without justification. This is in the fight against corruption. The story is covered on pages 4 and 5. Tumekuwa tukiuliza saa zile rais anasema tunapigana na ufisadi, ni ukweli ama ni mambo gani? EACC now attacking the prosecutor, anamwambia hapana, where you are dropping too many cases. Yes, that's the main story. So it's a simmering standoff. Probably the reason why the president wanted everyone around the same table, a multi-agency task force. Other story, Nzao Musau, these are he's a journalist who now became a lawyer. Nzao Musau ameandika hapa column anasema why we are all candidates for next Shakahola. Scorecard there, President William Ruto. Here is my record, 3-year track record. Yes, remember, we're still following up William Ruto's scorecard as we mark 3 years since he took oath of office, and he did so on the 13th of September 2022. This Saturday will be exactly 3 years from that date. Back to the front page, victims of cop abuse don't report, Rights Lobby survey. That's according to a survey. An audit exposes financial rot and massive land grab at ADC. A new audit has put the Agricultural Development Corporation on the spot, detailing serious financial mismanagement, legal breaches, and systemic governance failures covered in the period to June 2024. Wale watu ADC walikuwa na mashamba ya serikali mengi sana. Na wanyama zile ng'ombe kubwa kubwa hivi zilikuwa napelekwa show, zilikuwa ADC. Sasa nasikia watu wameingia huko, senior government officers nini wamechukua mashamba wanasema ni zao.
Agricultural Development Corporation, eh?
So yes, the Star, fresh, independent, different. Grab yourself a copy. 60 shillings. Utaipata.
All right. Tukisonga mbele, People Daily, Gen Zs now want the throne in 2027. 27.8 million IEBC projection of registered voters from 22.1 million people. Gen Zs alisema 2027, if you're not registered, wanakutoa kwa nyumba, wanakujia huko. So age of first time voters born in 2007 by 2027 is 20 years this year. 2.5 million if half of new voters turn up to vote enough to tilt the outcome. And 5.6 million new voters anticipated.
So they're saying this is the number anticipated to register, even if half of them show up. Tuseme tu hata wameregister wote, lakini hata wengine waseme nusu ya hiyo namba, waseme si atuende kuvote. Hata nusu yao tu wakitokea, that will be enough to change everything.
Gen Zs now want the throne in 2027, youth factor.
Yeah, and
people and politics.
Interestingly, this comes after ile maswala inafanyika kule Nepal. Pia wale ni majenzi.
Youth uprising.
Na wale ni wabaya bana. Wale niliona wakipiga finance minister, hata hadi nikamhurumia. I support the cause by young people, but then again, sometimes even the approach. Anyway, I don't know.
3 years of Ruto rule, Kenyans still grapple with job crisis. Ruto scorecard behind Gachagua sudden support for DP aspirant in Mbeere North. Another story on page 5. That's the People Daily.
Business Daily, how Kenya Power will pay homes and farms for blackouts. So payouts are capped at 500,000 shillings, 550,559.85 in EPRA draft regulations. Consumers will be compensated for erratic supply. Ukipata blackout ovyo ovyo, una complain, unakuwa compensated.
Wow.
Yeah. So electricity consumers will receive compensation equivalent to 75% of their average daily consumption for extended blackouts in a new push to compel Kenya Power to improve the reliability of its supply. This is interesting. Yeah. The payouts for power outages will be capped at that amount I mentioned, as stated in the draft Energy Regulations 2025. Consumers will also be compensated for erratic power supply and delays in restoring electricity after scheduled maintenance. Ati leo wanasema ati leo kuna scheduled maintenance between 9 and 5. Alafu by 5 hawajarudisha, inarudi 7 ama 8 p.m. They should compensate you according to those rules. This is going to be beautiful.
Waende huko kwetu seme.
Stima inapotea wiki mzima.
Mvua ikinyesha wanaanua stima yao.
Now itabainisha wafanyikazi wa Kenya Power itabidi they step up because if they don't, the company loses money.
Very nice.
Tycoon seeks 7,610 acres to mine iron ore for steel plant. That's a billionaire industrialist Narendra Raval. He has applied for a license to prospect for iron ore in Taita Taveta County as he moves to become the first producer of primary steel in that region. On the ticker, Treasury allows counties and state agencies to use IFMIS. It's another technology system. That's Integrated Financial Management Information System. 56.6 billion shilling pension shortfall risks workers' retirement plans. Kuna watu wengi watapata delays in receiving their pension after persistent employer defaults on contributions plunged 27 pension schemes into a 56.6 billion shilling deficit. And NSE rallies lower dividends yields below Treasury bill rates. That is matters business.
All right. State of the Nation?
On State of the Nation today, Wilson Sossion, Dr. Peter Mbeere and Peter Mutuku Mutua will be in studio in a few minutes' time discussing the big headlines. We're still looking at Ruto at 3, matters to do with by-election preparations as well as insecurity.
Being Thursday, we are talking matters health, regenerative medicine with Dr. Ashni Maldi, an aesthetic doctor and MD at TIA Clinics. Tuangalie caricature.
Our first cartoon today is on the Star, and yes, it mirrors the biggest conversation, people on bodabodas and what they're doing. Unajua kumekuwa na mambo mengi ya watu kwenye bodaboda wanachoma magari. When they are involved in traffic incidents, wanachoma magari. Lakini nilikwambia siku moja walichoma gari, alafu wakagundua ni yao. Lakini walikuwa washaichoma na ni matatu ya bodaboda sako. Lakini pia wao ndio wanatumika kupiga watu marisasi. So are they above the law? That's the story. Huyu jamaa wa compensation commission, the chair, Professor Makau Mutua, had actually said it's time to start regulating bodabodas. They cannot be just allowed to run amok everywhere. Wanachoma magari, wanapiga watu risasi. Cartoon on the Star.
All right. This is again Daily Nation.
Daily Nation.
It gives a picture of East African presidents wakisema remote please change channels. Ni kama wataki kuona that uprising happening in Nepal. We see President William Ruto, Samia Suluhu, Salva Kiir is there. This is Evariste Ndayishimiye, Hassan Mohamed of Somalia, Uganda, Yoweri Museveni and Paul Kagame. Huyu ni
Undo wa Burundi huyo.
Undo Evariste Ndayishimiye, Tshisekedi. Yes. Remote please change channels. Wamesema wataki kuona hiyo.
Of all these leaders, I think William Ruto has had a taste of Gen Z. Anajua vile wanakuwa. Ndio maana amebend mbele asema wewe.
Yeye ndiye anaendea hiyo remote.
Anaenda kuchange. Hawataki kuona, but it was ugly. If you see some of the videos, not so very nice pictures coming from Nepal.
That's the Daily Nation.
It's the Standard. And this one is about media freedom. So we have the press playing football and enjoying their media freedom. Alafu kuna jamaa anaitwa MCK, Media Council of Kenya. He's supposed to be the regulator, but yeye ni kama endo ana curtail media freedom. Kuna ile statement aliandika akasema, media ideally he should, the MCK is not the one supposed to be castigating media or accusing or criticizing media. It's supposed to sit as a neutral arbiter in case of conflicts between the media and any other institution or individual. But now when yeye sasa ndo anakuja kusema hapana, msifanye hivi, who has complained? That's the question. Who has complained to the Media Council for them to criticize the media and how they're approaching it? So, Media Council wamekuja sana according to this cartoonist.
Finally, People Daily stable cash has been depicted here as overflowing from a tap. Lakini, Wakenya wanauliza pale, dear God, if the tap is now stable, where is the water? Maji ni mingi lakini watu hawapati maji.
Wanasema the economy is stable, it has stabilized, it has improved. But are you feeling it in your pocket? Hiyo pesa wanasema iko wapi?
Jamani, please. Uncle, please.
So Stano has captured the feeling you have.
Yes. Very nice, Stano. So those are the stories making headlines this morning and the local daily.
I don't know if we have time to take a look at traffic once again.
Unfortunately, we don't.
We don't. Okay.
We are past time. Let's take a look at a few of your feedback on social media. Okode Comedian, another beautiful day, same God. Ukifika siku ya leo salama, mwambie Mungu asante. Tunashukuru sana Okode. Daktari Yusuf watching live, Andole Jr. locked in. Lameki Bakari watching live from Kari, Nairobi. Frank Kobi anasema watching live. Mistress, this is a sweeter. Anasema good morning to you. Tomo Yera anasema imondo. Kama kawaida imondo means you woken up very early in the morning. Like umeamka imondo.
Imondo, where I come from.
Not imondo. Hiyo inakaa ni kama ni nyama.
No, ameandika imondo. Imondo is a gizzard.
Not imondo. This one is saying imondo. Say imondo.
So what's the difference? Imondo.
No, imondo is Luya. Imondo is you woken up.
How do you know this is Lu?
He is Luo.
No,
he is Luo you.
What?
Frank Francis Okanga anasema good morning Kenyans. Another day that I can't wait to catch up with Freddie Ndemuli and Arno Dida. Featuring Mary Elius, that is our producer and TV47 Morning Cafe show. Asante sana, Total Vibes, as the update is about our beautiful nation, ready for the day. Tayari kujenga nchi, as I'm being updated on the state of the nation from different newspapers by our Morning Cafe pilots. Thank you so much for watching. Meanwhile, do interact with us on our social media platforms. As you can see, it gives me so much joy to sample your feedback on Facebook, on YouTube, TV47 Kenya, on X. Keep interacting with us, TV47 Digital. My handle on X is at @Ann_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe.
My handle on X is at Fred Ndimuli. Keep it here. We'll see you after the break.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home, do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that
In a dramatic turn, DCP announced it will not field candidates in 3 key areas in the upcoming by-election. DCP has pledged support for candidates from allied opposition parties in select areas, including Mbeere North constituency, in support of the Democratic Party. Acknowledging that the seat was previously held by DP, the party also dropped the Mumbuni ward candidate in support of Wiper Democratic Front, and in Kabuchai Chwele ward, DCP has endorsed DAPK. Gachagua emphasized that these strategic withdrawals reflect a commitment to collaboration within the united opposition ahead of the 2027 general elections.
As we compete, we shall respect our opposition parties in those regions, mindful that democracy is the preserve of every Kenyan. This consensus and agreement among the parties in the united opposition only applies to the by-elections. However, let me confirm that in the 2027 general election, DCP shall field a presidential candidate and other candidates in the 290 constituencies, 47 counties, and 1,450 wards across the Republic.
Gachagua has also condemned the presence of foreign militia from Jubaland operating in Mbeere County and accused President Ruto's administration of compromising Kenya's sovereignty by allowing foreign militia to operate within the borders.
The Constitution of Kenya, Article 1, reminds us all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this Constitution. Yet today, that sovereignty is under siege from foreign forces and a leadership too timid or too compromised to defend it. Kenya, once an island of peace and stability in the Horn of Africa, has now been reduced to a staging ground for foreign forces and rival militias.
DCP has demanded for the immediate expulsion of all foreign militias from Kenyan soil, reopening of schools in Mbeere County affected by militia activity, and the KDF to be allowed to discharge its full constitutional mandate without interference from the executive. Gachagua warned that continued inaction could lead to political consequences for the president, urging him to resign before what he terms as the 2027 embarrassment that awaits.
Mr. William Ruto, we are putting you on notice that Kenya's territorial integrity is sacred. Our sovereignty is not negotiable. If you cannot defend the people and the Republic of Kenya from foreign invasion, not forgetting your bloody track record over the last 3 years, you know the honorable thing to do.
Gachagua has vowed that the DCP party will remain committed to justice, democracy, and accountability.
Yes, indeed, the November 27 by-elections in at least 23 areas, electoral areas, including National Assembly seats, 1 Senate seat, and 16 MCA positions, now getting hotter by the day. The official campaign period will begin on October 8th and end officially on November 24th. That's 48 hours before the election date. But you can see the discussion among parties is getting bigger as we continue. Of course, other headlines making headlines, matters security and that assassination of that lawyer Mbobu, making it to the front pages of the Standard, the Daily Nation, and the Star as well. But this is where we'll start our conversation this morning, and it's because we have with us Dr. Peter Mbeere, who's the Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs. Karibu sana, Dr. Mbeere. Also with us this morning is Wilson Sosion, who served as Secretary General of the National Union of Teachers and also served as member of the National Assembly. Karibu sana, Mwalimu Sosion.
Asante, good morning.
Peter Mutuku Mutua, governance and leadership expert, joins us this morning. Karibu sana, Bwana Mutua.
Good morning, viewers.
Let's start with you, Bwana Mbeere. And yes, now we can see things are beginning to take shape. And there are people who feel their strengths, trying to protect and defend some alliances as well to ensure everything is working. Is that the kind of thinking under what we call now the united opposition, that you really need to protect the unity at whatever expense, whatever cost, otherwise things will not go very well?
First of all, I didn't know why your reporter said in a surprise move. I don't know what is all this surprise move that we have let go some of the positions or some of the seats. There's no surprise. That is how exactly we want to do. We are doing a rehearsal for 2027 by making sure the united opposition comes together and fields candidates as per the strengths of the parties. We said from the word go, it's not about DCP coming to them and saying we are going to take over this country. It's about respecting that there were other parties before DCP. There are regional parties. And I want to say from the word go, presidential elections are won on regional coalitions. You make coalitions, then you come to the national table. So now, what we are saying is, we look at Mbeere North, for example. Mbeere North, the seat was occupied by DP. Luckily, DP is a member of the official opposition. So we are saying, and we did our own opinion polls. And because Mbeere is only praised, Mbeere South and North are the only two constituencies out of 68 constituencies in Kenya, in Mount Kenya, that are dominated by all whose politics is influenced by clans. So we have all those dynamics. And then we said, look, it is half term. DP MP never finished the term. So we give it back to him. He is our member. He's a member of the official opposition, the Honorable JB Muturi. And that is how we are going to go.
I thought the plan was to ensure that at least DCP for a new party gets to test its strength, especially in the Mount Kenya region, ahead of 2027. This would have been the best opportunity.
Our opponents, that is the line of thinking of our opponents. They really wanted us to field, so that we field DP, fields, then UDA fields, then there is confusion. We are not going to go that route. I can tell you that.
If you say that for Mount Kenya region, then what happens in Malava? Because we are aware that DCP is fielding a candidate in Malava, where there's also DAP Kenya. So if at all that's the thinking in Mount Kenya region, shouldn't it be the same?
Thank you very much. Now, look, we are going to field a candidate in Banisa. Now, in Malava, look at the situation. Let me tell you, this is scientific. First of all, we are going to look at the popularity as at now. Okay, the popularity is at now. So our candidate in Marava is doing very well. Now, number two, if you look at Marava dynamics, ANC would have been the party to go, but it was bought off, so it's not there. Now, if you look at DAP, it's more of Bungoma, the party leader, deputy party leader, the chairman. Actually, if you look at what we have the statement we did yesterday at the party headquarters, we are letting go 2 ward positions from Bungoma to DAPK. We let go. Look at that. But in Malava, our deputy party leader comes from that area. He had 85,000 votes when he invited there as governor. So we are going part by part looking at the strengths. So we are going for Mbeere as an official position. We're going for Banisa. We're going for Magadini. We're going for Marava. We are going for Pulko Ward in Kajiado. We are going for Narok Town MCA position. We are going for Kisa. In Western, we are letting go the 2. We are going for the 3 ward positions in Nyamira and Kisii. That's how we are going to go. And I can tell you this seated here. You'll see that now the strength of DAPK will come with some seats. DP will do the same. DCP will come. Wiper, Mumbuni, you saw that. So that is how the structure is going to go.
But if DAPK is going to field a candidate in Malava, do you think that will be splitting the united opposition votes to whatever level? Or are you hoping to negotiate with DAP for at least a joint candidate, the DCP candidate?
Now, that's a good question. Number one, you have seen what we have done in Mbeere, okay? And by the way, for record, the candidate we had, he never left us, like he left us. He saw what we had agreed and he jumped ship. And he has all the rights. Let's meet on the ground. It's very simple. So to answer your question, then we are now coming to Malava. We are still working. We are looking at the figures. The DCP candidate is ahead. There are the local dynamics of Western people. Remember, there is a Western, the Bungoma, Tanzania, and there's a Western, the Vihiga, Busia, and Kakamega. So we are trying to balance to see who is ahead. If it comes to a place where we must talk further about getting one candidate, but again, it will depend on the ground. If it do not have any consequences, we proceed.
All right.
Yeah.
Bonasusion, looking at this, any election where it's at least 23 different electoral units, that's a mini election, and that could just as well shape what's happening in 2027. Do you believe that this by-election will actually give us an indication of how the politics will go in 2 years' time?
No, it will give the indication as of now, because it is still a long way to 2027. There are a lot of dynamics that really will happen, politically speaking, And the 6 by-elections in parliamentary and I think 17 ward, 1 senatorial in Baringo and I think 16 MCAs have accumulated because of the absence of chair and commissioners at IEBC. So really it's going to be a major activity in the history of by-elections in this country because they've accumulated and it's going to cause a lot of excitement across board. That's a fact for sure. But the beauty is democracy will prevail. And as far as I know, I think this will be a test case for the new IEBC.
Not for the parties.
Well, and also for the parties. How organized they are and how they are connecting their programs, their agenda, their manifestos with the people. And it's a matter of let's wait and see what the people will decide. And official campaigning period will begin somewhere in October. And that is now when we'll begin seeing how parties are connecting with the voters. And ultimately, we will see the thinking of the people in all those wards.
So you do agree that, yes, it will give an indication of how the politics may go towards 2027?
Not very necessarily, you know, empirically speaking. We've worked in this country. And a day in politics is a long period. Because I want to speak truthfully and scientifically, because I've watched political events. But the fact is, the ruling coalition remains very popular and very strong, and it will return with victories in many wards.
What if there are losses for the ruling coalition? Do you think that may indicate a reduction in the level of confidence in that ruling coalition, if there are losses?
If there are losses for democratic reasons, it does happen in any election. You can lose 1 or 2 seats. But one thing I can tell you for sure, there will be victories.
Okay.
On the absolute. Remember, the broad-based government is a big team, and it has very strong presence across the country. And you will be surprised how many seats will be won by the broad-based arrangement, even in very unlikely quarters that my brother, Professor Mbeere, will have to go and take some dinner to relieve himself.
But Mutua, a lot has changed, even in the dynamics of the ruling political formation. It was Kenya Kwanza, some parties have been dissolved, some parties have been swallowed. Now there's this, what you call broad-based arrangement, and no one understands exactly who's in charge in as far as the political formations are concerned. Don't you think that this is the best rehearsal to find out how people align politically going forward?
First of all, we don't have the thing that my brother Peter called official opposition. That is de facto opposition, because they have taken over positions that are not theirs, because the official opposition became part of the broad-based government. Now, moving forward, we've never, first of all, let's remember, we've never had a situation that we had 23 by-elections at the same time, and the 23 by-elections are spread across the country. Then that tells you the spread has accommodated different political factions or groupings and ideologies, regional and the like. So for me, this is going to serve as a litmus test of what is going to happen in 2027 to some extent. And where the ruling coalition loses for one reason or the other, they will be going back to the drawing board. And again, it's not just about losing only. There should be also the consideration of which side of almost. You almost lost or you almost got it. So if you, for example, in Mbeere, so to speak, if the candidate loses by a small margin to the other side, if, for example, DP wins, the candidate from DP wins, they retain the seat. However, they lose by a small margin. it makes the political class go back to the drawing board, because some places you must have an assailable lead. If you do not have it, then something somewhere is wrong. So for me, this is going to serve as a litmus test. And for the coalition, you have talked about the broad-based. You see, I said somewhere that when last year we experienced disruption, then this year we experienced 2 disruptions, and then last year when we experienced a disruption of the Gen Z revolution, then after a few months there was the formation of a broad-based government. And truth be told, that this is a formation, up to now, is a formation of people with different political ideologies. And when you bring together people with different political ideologies, it takes time for them to become one and start pulling in the same direction. And the first 1 or 2 years, it's a period of suspicion. Am I doing things in the right way? Is the boss happy with what we are doing? And why are these people doing things the way they are doing? Until it comes to a point that you pull together, there's going to be a lot of confusion.
Dr. Mbeere, for DCP, definitely for a new party, the initial plan was to ensure that they go into all these spaces, electoral units, at least come out with something. It would be better for a new party to go into the next election, at least with 1 or 2 members of the National Assembly, or even the Senate if possible, or a few members of county assemblies across the country. But then there's a big debate about ensuring the unity of this united opposition. How much is that affecting your plans? And don't you think that will be diluting even the opportunities that DCP was hoping to take advantage of?
First of all, there was no such a plan of hope. We've never sat somewhere and said we must get these ABCD positions. These are by-elections. And I will insist again, Fred, the overall good of the unity of opposition is more important than personal glory of any particular party, including DCP. I want to say this again. Yes, it would have been a very good thing. And by the way, the only place we are foregoing is only Mbeere. And you see, you cannot dictate by-elections. There's no, you can say we want 5 by-elections in Mount Kenya. Those are by-elections under very unique circumstances. So what we are saying, the bigger good overrides, and that's why some people are panicking. There are people already panicking. They didn't want that. They wanted us to go and say, look here, we must go and field candidates there. But look at it, Fred. But we also filled in all the others. Even if we got 4 or 3, if we get a few MPs and MCAs out of the by-elections. But I will surprise you today. Let me tell you, Fred, we are not yet done. 2 years is a long time. After I'm in charge of planning, and we are planning big.
Do you agree that this by-election could as well destroy some parties and create others? If Jubilee right now gets a few of those seats, where would it leave DCP?
I don't want to talk about Jubilee, but I can tell you they were there in 2022. We met on the ground, and you know what we did to them as you did then, right? So I don't talk much about Jubilee. These are people who are in our official opposition. You know, they are there like this, like that. So I don't talk much about them, but I can tell you this. The by-elections definitely will have an inking to the 2027. Why we are making sure that we hold together is going to have an inkling, is going to have a direction what's going to happen. So I don't know why Sosion suddenly is developing cold feet by saying not necessarily, it may not have, it will have. Let me tell you, and because history is very good, when UDA was created, there was a by-election in Nakuru, in my home county of London. We won. Now every win was giving us a lot of energy. We won in Lodie Ward. We won in Musambweni, right? The opposition then, which was headed by the President William Ruto, then the deputy. We won in Juja. Then, by the time I can tell you, we won in Kiambaa. It was as good as sealed that there was no deep state. There was no, the deep state and the system. Everybody believed we were going to win. That's what happened. So we are going to start slowly. And let me tell you something. We are not praying for by-elections because we don't want somebody to die or anybody to resign and all that. But we'll force some by-elections by next year. We'll ask some members of UDA to leave the party and go to by-elections. We have a long way to go. 2027 is far. So we are going to do it.
So you do acknowledge that by-elections will be an indication of
before the 2027, we are going to have elected DCP senators, members of parliament, enough of them, and MCAs across the country.
But not necessarily this time in this mini.
No. This one, let it go. We are going to. There are people who are so uncomfortable being branded UDA until 2027. So they are going to leave. That is our plan. So wait and see. So this one, let it go, because this one came, and then you're going to do some teasing, you know, some warm-ups next year.
A lot has changed even in Western Kenya, especially with the dissolution of ANC party, which I think held the Malava seat. Now you're going there as UDA. Don't you think that that also affects, in case that seat is lost, that it would affect the image of the UDA party?
You know, when you talk of in case and an event has not occurred, I think that is extremely prejudicial.
It's probability.
It is prejudicial. Yeah. Now you've used probability. In the event, yeah. So, fundamentally speaking, one, ANC merged with UDA. It merged. It is a merger, and it is known.
They died.
And yes, it did.
They died.
It is a merger, and it is known. And the officials from both parties were fused together. The Deputy General Secretary of UDA is Honorable Mboko Milemba, formerly of ANC. And so the presence of UDA in Western is very strong, and Malava constituency is strongly UDA. That's a fact for sure. And we are confident UDA will back Malava.
What would a loss in Malava mean for UDA? Because now this was an ANC seat. ANC is part of UDA. What would it mean? And you're talking about probability. What would it mean?
No, I don't want to answer your other question. I have to tell you exactly what will happen. UDA will win Malava seat.
But what do you think it would mean if UDA is not successful in a place like Malava?
If I have to talk about Malava, where the then MP was elected on ANC, let me start with the ANC, because I like getting the text and the context before I misuse by pretexting. So, because I've seen there's some pretexting here, ANC was dissolved. It remains so, because it does not exist anywhere in the books of the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. So the loss for the candidate from UDA it's going to give very negative signals for the ruling. It's either the people who have been assigned to campaign for the UDA candidate, at night they are doing other things. There could be sabotage from within, because I've said in the past, we should not trust people who have joined us. You know, personally, I'm saying you joined us because I campaigned for this government. I was a member here in Nairobi and everywhere. So there are people who joined us, and I'm still suspicious. So the loss, first of all, should the candidate for UDA lose that Malava, and you remember all the systems are pulling together to make sure that he wins. If he loses, then they go back to the drawing board and say Western is not our region.
It's gone.
It's gone.
And what would it mean for that to declare that Western is gone?
No, if they lose, you know, there are some things that they call in law judicial review that you do not need to prove the matter. I don't have to sit here and say the sun rises from east and sets in the west. That is obvious. If they lose, obviously West is gone. So they look for other, you know, other sections of this country and they join coalitions and just forget this Western part.
I'll tell you something about Western for 1 minute. Let me tell you the analysis we have. I love Western people. Western, they don't hide. They don't vote for government anywhere since Shikuku days, since 2002. They have been following Laila so long as he has been in opposition. I can tell you today, Western, Malava is going to be a very good test case. I love the heart of Murembe people. They don't hide, and they have no qualms about it. They don't support any government. They don't vote for any government. Musalia was bought. You know, that thing went. I like the question that was being asked. So people are asking, now which party should have gone for this seat? It's ANC. It is bought. It's not anywhere. Okay? Now, our brothers of post DAP, mostly it's a Bukusu party. Now, but DCP, the deputy party leader is from Kakamega. The party leader is from the mountain. The deputy party leader is from Mount Kenya. I can tell you this today, seated here, today. You can mark this word.
What time?
Okay, you can mark this time.
4 minutes per 7.
I can tell you today, I love the Western people. They never support government because they are very suspicious. They vote with opposition. This time around, you are in good hands, my Western people.
All right.
It's going to be done. It's going to be decided nicely.
Bwana Sosio, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that you want to ride on some expected crest of some luck to land somewhere. Who said Western people do not want to associate and be part of government? They are part of the government of the Republic of Kenya in a big way this time round, more than ever before. So stop building castles in the skies where it is not possible to have none. What will happen is that the people of Malava will vote for a member of parliament to represent them. And the different political parties have presented their candidates, and UDA, of course, definitely will have a candidate. There will be
UDA has a candidate, yes.
And take it to the bank. That seat will go to UDA. And you can't demonize that ANC was finished. ANC wound up and joined UDA. So then it's Malaba automatically turned from ANC to UDA.
And
so
if UDA wins that, the numbers in parliament go up, parliamentary numbers for that ruling party. So yes, we continue anticipating the by-elections of November 27th this year. 23 by-elections in total spread out across the country. It's a mini by-election by any standards. And yes, the official campaigns do begin on October 8th, all the way to November 24th will be exactly 48 hours before that. And a lot happening with regard to the rearrangements, allegiances, and shifting dynamics in as far as preparations by different parties in anticipation of this big mini election, if I may call it that. The other big story that we've been talking about and is featured, I think, only second to the slain lawyers issue, we'd like to take a look at President William Ruto's 3 years in office. He took oath of office on 13th of September 2022. That date, 3 years on, falls this coming Saturday in 2 days' time. And so many of the papers are doing an analysis of so many different things, the promises he made, the progress that he has made, and that is what we'll be looking at after the break with my panelists. You're watching Morning Cafe, don't go too far.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget, regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50.
Na ni dhahiri shahiri kwamba anakuwa amri jeshi mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi ya Kenya.
When William Ruto took office in September 2022, he promised a new economic order, the bottom-up agenda, aimed at delivering affordable credit, housing, jobs and cheaper living for ordinary Kenyans. 3 years on, there are visible wins but also deep public frustration. On infrastructure and programs, the government can point to deliverables. The affordable housing program has recorded nearly 200,000 units under construction, with another 130,000 in procurement.
Nyumba ambayo ilikuwa inauza shilingi milioni 20 unaipata kwa milioni 3 sasa. Ile ilikuwa inauza shilingi milioni 7 unaipata kama kwa 800,000. Nyumba bedroom moja, bedroom 2, zingine mpaka 400,000 unaweza kumiliki nyumba kupitia mfumo wa affordable housing.
The Hustler Fund has disbursed 72 billion shillings to about 26 million Kenyans, with an 83% repayment rate. Government says tens of thousands of new teachers have been recruited.
Kutoka tuchukue hatamu za uongozi, hakuna mwanafunzi ambaye amekosa fedha zake za HELB. Hakuna mwanafunzi amekosa kwenda shule kwa sababu capitation haikupelekwa. Tumejenga madarasa zaidi, tumeajiri walimu zaidi ya 70,000.
But many Kenyans say these gains are outweighed by the pain at the pumps and in kitchens. Fuel subsidies were scrapped, new taxes passed, and inflation pushed food prices higher.
So, izakuwa fedha mkononi hazipo, lakini zile huduma muhimu za kimsingi ambapo ni haki ya katiba kama serikali tunahakikishia Kenya, tutahakikisha kwamba hizo tunazidhibiti na muweze kuzipata bila wasiwasi wowote.
Doubts also linger over Ruto's healthcare reforms. The new Social Health Authority meant to replace NHIF has faced rollout delays, funding gaps and mistrust, with patients and hospitals complaining that promised universal health coverage remains out of reach.
SHA ikianza ilikuwa mzuri, unalipa mwezi moja unatibiwa, lakini sasa ukienda kwa hospitali kutibiwa SHA unaambiwa ulipe mwaka mzima ili upate huduma.
Kama serikali kuu tumekuwa tukitoa kiwango chetu cha fedha kuhakikisha kwamba zinakwenda moja kwa moja hadi katika hospitali level 2, level 3 atakana bure, lakini mara nyingi changamoto imekuwa kuwepo kwa madawa katika hospitali zile.
And nothing rattled Kenya Kwanza more than the Gen Z protests of 2024, sparked by the finance bill's tax hikes. The largely youth-led, self-proclaimed leaderless movement swept across the country. Dozens lost their lives in clashes, forcing Ruto to withdraw the bill and reshuffle his cabinet. A rare climb down that analysts say marked a turning point of his presidency.
The only thing the president has actually used for the Gen Z demonstration is that now he's used it as an excuse to clamp down on civil liberties. The Bill of Rights has actually been encroached on.
Despite the negative aspects of where he stands and where the government stands, but I think a positive feature is a political goodwill that is already coming from the president, which therefore needs to be exerted at the Constitutional Commission or institutional level.
Critics also point to stalled or controversial deals, including the cancellation of major infrastructure contracts. After transparency concerns are signs of inconsistent policy and weak governance. Questions also persist about whether independent bodies remain truly independent under Ruto's regime. From the judiciary to oversight commissions, critics argue that political pressure and executive influence have eroded autonomy, raising doubts about checks and balances in the past 3 years.
The independent bodies are independent to the letter in terms of the constitutional expectation, but the spirit of independence is not there.
Another gap lies in communication. Analysts say government has failed to effectively inform Kenyans about the services and opportunities under its flagship programs. But the administration insists the information is out there, blaming what it calls public ignorance for low uptake and persistent mistrust.
Huduma za serikali zipo na nyingi zinatupita kwa sababu tunapenda kupuuza. Katika miaka hii mitatu tubadilisheni mtazamo wetu, tusiwe watu wa kupuuza mwito wa serikali. Mengine ya kisiasa puuza.
Economists give an ambivalent verdict, arguing that the programs are not yet large or well targeted enough to offset inflation and debt pressures. Others warn that measures touted as inclusive risk becoming costly liabilities without clear delivery chains, oversight and measurable outcomes.
Let him not try and divorce himself. He was part and parcel of that previous government. There are many, many instances under which William Ruto himself defended the debt accumulation. And what we are saying is that that debt accumulation which the government took during Uhuru's time was odious.
3 years into his presidency, Ruto has rolled out visible projects such as housing, teacher recruitment and microcredit programs. However, these achievements are overshadowed by rising living costs, governance challenges and public frustration. The key question is whether policy adjustments can rebuild confidence ahead of the next phase of his term. Mike Kagwango, TV 47, Nairobi.
Enhance the social, aspect of it.
It is indeed the biggest discussion this week, 3 years on, what has happened. And we are running polls on our social media pages, TV47 Digital on X. As President Ruto marks 3 years in power, how would you rate the progress of his government in terms of development projects and service delivery? Kindly give us your opinion there. Is it excellent, good, fair, or poor? We're doing the same on Facebook as well. TV47 Kenya is a page. Kindly put your comment there and we'll try and sample that as we continue. There's also an analysis done on page 6 and 7 of the Standard talking about Ruto Pulse, president who eats, sleeps and dreams of changing how everything is done. President William Ruto's first 3 years have been marked with a sharp presidential appetite for change. His most remarkable carryover from 2022 election campaigns is easily the refrain, I am going to change this Kenya. So why does the president love to reinvent the wheel? This author asks, to fix what is not broken and to change what is working. Is it about giving the nation better service than has been the legacy, or is it about building a personal brand of sorts? These are just some of the questions people are asking as we look and take stock of some of the things the president has done. Also with the knowledge that at least in the last 3 years he's managed to accumulate new debt of about 3.5 trillion shillings. And maybe people are asking, where is the money? Because probably there is no physical development project that can be attributed directly to that borrowing. Bwana Sosion, are we being too critical of this president that 3 years on, with only less than 24 months to the next election, there's so many questions about the promises he made and where we are so far?
Well, it's good to ask questions. For any government to be accountable to the people, questions must be asked. And the president is not averse to people asking hard questions. But the president has maintained a very sharp eye contact on the pillars on which he was elected, and even beyond the pillars, and up to and including recalibrating governance of this country so that this country can work better. And by any standards, when you look at the overall macroeconomic indicators, it's a very strong indicator of success. That inflation has come down from a high of 9% and is stabilizing between 3 and 4%. That gives guarantee of access of goods and services by Kenyans, and the cost of living generally coming down. And
even as you continue explaining that, the question has been that, yes, you talk about stabilizing the economy and all these things, and Kenyans are saying, but we are not feeling it in our pockets. So
now, I'm talking about the macro. Feeling is at the micro level, and it's a process. It's not it is not an event. When you have the economy growing and one of the fastest globally at above 5%, That's a very, very good indicator. You have the dollar against the shilling stabilizing very well. And you know, to recalibrate the economy and to bring it to that level that can allow the microeconomic aspects to work is no mean achievement from what it was, what the president inherited. But then when we look even around the pillars, the delivery of the pillars, as the president delivered in agriculture, yes, yeah, because farmers can now work and there is at least reasonable surplus of food production in the country, including exports with more enhanced earnings to the farmers in terms of, when you look at coffee, up from 50 shillings per kilo to over 120 and with a stable dollar, then it means it's enhanced earnings. These are milestones that we must speak about. When we talk about UHC, despite the challenges that we are seeing, UHC is working. And recalibration of the entire infrastructure of the health sector so that it works, it's already working. And that is a big milestone. You know, to provide health is not a simple thing. Housing, it is being delivered. We are seeing houses coming up right across the country, and we have seen the first Kenyans access their housing. I can't talk much about digital and even MSME space. A lot of work is going on. But if I talk about my favorite subject, education, where the president promised to dignify, respect, recognize, and support teachers, a lot of work has gone on in the entire education space. 100,000 teachers against the 116,000 that were promised will be in the payroll by December this year. That is almost 80% achievement. The CBC that was brought in without proper consultation and involvement of Kenyans has been subjected to continuous review, continuous recalibration through the Presidential Working Party. And we can see our curriculum normalizing and teachers getting more accustomed and able to deliver the curriculum. And we have seen the stability of teachers in terms of being dignified. Policies that were draconian have been dropped, like delocalization, more of them employed, and resumption of massive promotions, both direct and indirect promotions, which had been eliminated with the billions of shillings ring-fenced in the budget, is a big statement by the president, up to and including the collective agreements for teachers. Within 3 years, the president has managed to review teacher salaries twice within 3 years. And that's a big statement. And we are seeing a lot of work in the universities, reorganizing the funding model, dignifying the lecturers, and revamping the universities to be able to deliver teaching, research, and community development. A lot of work is being done.
Thank you,
but only that we focus on building the negatives. We are not discussing the successes.
We only rate him.
This is a moment for us to discuss the successes and achievements.
But we cannot ignore some of the flagship projects that the president promised. The Hustler Fund and where it is now. There's already a headline on page 7 of the Daily Nation. Hustler Fund defaulters to be barred from accessing bank loans and SACCO loans. On the affordable housing project faltered over delays, diversion of funds, and this is by the control of budget. We know what is happening with SHA. Now, these are the flagship projects of the president. Do you think, for one, that it is normal, or it's okay that 3 years on, Kenyans are feeling the pinch, but the government and the president are talking about better, the economy being much better? Do you think, as Bwana Sossion explains, that it is possible that, yes, we could be doing very well, according to the government, but the Mwananchi is not feeling that?
Well, it is a difficult situation to make judgment, and based on 3 years, I don't know, or the proponents of scorecard of 3 years, I don't know where they sat and agreed is 3 years. Because what we have is not a 3-year term so far. We have not, as Kenya Kwanza, we've not enjoyed the privilege of 3 years to implement the manifesto as we promised people. we had unexpected disruption last year. That is on last year, 25th of June, which led to a lot of disruption by way of destruction, and even the president had to call a press conference in State House, and it was the first time we had a president in this world conceding against the pressure of people in the streets. And this one slowed down the speed at which we wanted to achieve things. And in a few months, the president formed what is called broad-based government. I would rather remain in this government and criticize it from within, other than resigning and starting talking at it from outside. And I will speak it this way. As a result of broad-based, the agreements, the architects, the political advisors, the policymakers, they advised the president that is now time to form a broad-based government. And then he went and picked specifically people from ODM and not Azimio. He picked specifically people from ODM. And then I heard the leadership of ODM saying they donated experts to help our government. And the president, because he wants peace in this country and stability, we invited those people. Remember, the people, some of them that were appointed from the other side, in other quarters, in the political dispensations of other jurisdictions in this world, they are called deadwoods, because they have served for many years, they have not delivered anything, but they were forced on us. So when they came in our government, they brought their deep-rooted loyalties and political ideologies in this government. By the time we understand how to work with them, we have already lost some time. So it is unfair to sit here and judge this government and say for 3 years, because we have not had.
Yes, and that's an interesting thing, because one would have imagined that the formation of the broad-based government and the influence that now they have collectively on the Houses of Parliament, that would propel President William Ruto's development agenda. Are you saying that it has in fact slowed it down?
It has, because these are two different political ideologies. Truth be told, there is a reason why we went to campaign this nation. We had Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. The reason is that the people who are in Kenya Kwanza and the ones in Azimio, they were following a certain political ideology. There is a reason we have manifestos. If then manifestos don't make sense, we shouldn't have them. So by the time they join us, because they are the same people who are criticizing Hustler Fund, and then the proponents, and especially the ones who are speaking loudly, criticizing Hustler Fund, they are the ones who are in charge of the Hustler Fund. Mm-hmm. And the moment they took over, we have defaulters. Now there are letters written to banks, do not ever loan these people. What's wrong? This doesn't require you to be a professor to understand that there is a problem here, and the problem is the visitors. And the time we agree on how to move forward, we have lost some time. Mm-hmm. And then came this year. No sooner had we settled, as now a broad-based government, we had serious revolt in June, and another one followed on 7th. And I think somewhere the president and his advisors, they are going back to the drawing board and to rethink. Because at the end of the day, in 2027, now the scorecard will be against our president, mm-hmm. and not the people who are.
And so at least as at now, 3 years on, you do agree that even as a supporter of this president, that he has not achieved as much as he would have hoped to have achieved.
Under the circumstances, in fact, he has outdone himself. Look at this. Mwalimu talked of hiring of new teachers. Let me give you the figure. It is 80,000 new teachers have been hired. Historically, we have never had that one. We have, even under difficult circumstances, we are seeing affordable housing everywhere. In fact, we thought that affordable housing was a preserve for the city of Nairobi County. But it's everywhere, in Machakos, it's in Nakuru, it is in Nyeri, it's everywhere. So this, under the current economic standards and situation, he has even outdone himself.
All right. What is your assessment, Dr. Mbeere? And I would want to take you back to this analysis on the Standard, that this president came with this motto of changing Kenya, that he sought to change too much, even that which did not need to be changed, that he was fixing things that were not broken. Do you agree that that is part of the issue with this president?
Thank you, Fred. One, you cannot begin, the president should not blame other people for not delivering. The way Peter is saying that, you know, there was time that was supposed to be there to form broad-based and all that. This government had only 2 years to deliver. And I'm saying that because, Fred, I am talking authoritatively as an expert on delivery. I've worked in the public service now for about 15 years. And I can tell you, I do delivery wherever I go. All the way from the county governments where I worked, from the Ministry of Trade, from the Ministry of Public Service, and as a head of government delivery. I can tell you this. We advised very well, this government had only 2 years. People were very impatient. Once 2 years go, I want now to first of all talk of a general thing. Once 2 years go, people begin thinking whether they are in or out. By the third year now, people have already decided. Because you only have 2 years. You are voted in, and people expect by the time you pick that Bible, Fred, you have an idea, very clear idea what you want to do. Now let me tell you what has happened. The problem is, and I'll give you on an overview. I don't know why even today, 3 years later, government people, you know, inflation stories, the DORA, those are old stories. Nobody wants to hear about them. And Fred, I would summarize that with one word. If you want to know how the economy is doing, go and ask the border operator, that woman operating a kiosk. These are the people who can tell you whether the economy is doing well or not. You didn't have to tell that during the Kibaki times. People could feel that the economy is working by people coming to literally, plead with them to take the money. Please, stop it there. But I'm looking at the 5 major things. You know, let's go to the point nicely. I'm talking about the 5 major things. Agriculture. Today, make calls. Ask people where it's guaranteed minimum returns of basic things. Coffee, milk, tea. It's not there. It's not there. 30 shillings per kilo of milk. Those are the simple things that affect the common mwananchi. Talk about this Hustler Fund. 6 billion default. Is that a success? 6 billion. They were going the other way and pleaded with the parliament. We don't have the money. Give us these 6 billion, then more. Then parliamentarians were like, we are seeking more money in the hot water. Now, if you want to know whether it's working, in 1 minute, the initial budget, the first 1 year, they put of 5 billion in the Hustler Fund. This year, 300 million. So themselves, they know it's not working. Look at the housing. Fred, we can take the whole hour talking about housing. I will summarize it with one word. Fred, today, the report on the Auditor General poked 5 holes on the Hustler Fund issue. Who owns the land? It's a public land.
The housing issue.
Yes. How do you own? How do I, as a private person, own a house built on public land? How? Number 2, who this housing levy thing, how do you tell me to pay for your house? I have my own mortgage and all that. There are issues, many issues, fundamental. One day, we shall revisit. And I can tell you this. The moment we take over the next government, the first thing we are going to do is to scrap that housing levy thing. And we are going to have problems with those houses because they are built on public land. I pause there. Number 3, look at the healthcare. Fred, let's be very frank. You put on a system of 104 saying that you are going to stem corruption. Then that is where a lot of money have gotten lost. The moment the Auditor General have flagged off is when you come running, trying to say you are going to arrest people. I keep on saying, you give NHF a bad name, you kill it so that cartels can move to SHA. And finally, where is the digital highway? We were supposed to have 1,450 ICT hubs in every constituency. It is already 3 years. I can tell you this, Fred. If you don't deliver your first and second year, I'm saying this to MCs, to MPs, to governors, to everybody. If you are not with the people, after 2 years of government, of you in your leadership, you cannot get any more. Now, what have we seen today in a nutshell? We are seeing a collapse of education system. Nobody knows. Mwalimu is here. My kids ask me, are we in grade 6, 7, junior secondary, middle secondary? I tell them, let me go and ask the teacher. Because things, circulars are coming up every day. We don't know. Education is one thing that you have to be systematic. It has to be certain. Look at help funding and all that kind of a thing. Now, we have a big issue about youth in crisis. We used to say it's a time bomb. It's already here. We were there and we advised very well, Fred. Please, NYS, take 100,000. These young people. Then after that, don't let them go home. Today, NYS youth, hundreds and thousands, they are at home. After government spending 300,000, 500,000, training them. That is poor planning. We were supposed to pick them. National Internship Program. We came up with a program. What do you do with the youth? PSC is able to do only 80,000, okay? With a budget of 2.5 billion. We said, can we increase the budget to 10 billion? Because these are young people. We pay them 25,000 every month. Graduates for 1 year before they find their own space. And then we wanted to partner with the private sector so that we get 100,000 every year. Those are the practical things that ought to have been done. Now, that is why we have a problem. But instead of empowering the youth, we are killing them. But finally, what we have seen is public debt. The system has no idea how to do with the public debt. You don't go promising, I'll deal with this. Then you come. It's like you are waiting for the opportunity, Fred, to make this country dry. Look at the theft in citizen. The theft that is going on everywhere, goes to schools, capitation money getting lost. That is what we have instead of moving forward. I'll tell you this because it's good to summarize. Fred, people could be asking what happened and what could have happened. Because of our zeal, because we thought for real we were supposed to deliver this government to the people, we went to every state department. I want to finish with that. 52 of them. Every PS and the CS sat there. We asked them, guys, stop all this drama of running around every day. Tell us, what 3 things, stop about 20 things, programs you are doing, give us 3. Every state department, that you think if we can do them. And we actually went and told them, no, stop everything else. Can we focus on 1, 2, 3? We put all those together for every state department. We presented to the president as the head of government. I told them, this is what we need to do. And we said, put a system, put the programs in a system so Kenyans can see the programs we are doing. That remains a pipe dream. They are gathering dust. And that is a problem that if you don't have systems and processes, there's nothing we can be able to deliver.
When Association now, the question now moves to, okay, fine. He has less than 24 months to the next election. Of course, a huge chunk of that will be taken over by campaigns in a very short time. If at all the criticism is at this level, and if at all the judgment will be made on his performance in the next less than 24 months, do you think the president has the time or opportunity to turn the tide?
And the other question, what performance index have you given the president other than criticizing? You know, when you are criticizing somebody, you look at the positives and negatives. But when you spend on minute negatives and magnifying them to look like there's no work that has been done, I don't think we are being very fair. Of course, Mbeere is free to try and poke holes on everything in a very disorganized manner. But rightly, as has been put by my other fellow panelists here, the president has exceeded expectation in managing the country. No other president has ever done this. When you talk about the debts, the country has been removed from the debt distress that we're almost sinking into, caused by the borrowing, heavy borrowing by the previous.
It's been 3.5 trillion shillings in 3 years' time, which is the highest we've seen.
That is a fact. Of course, the borrowing that is going on is prudent, and it can be accounted what it is doing and where it's going. And of course, the country is moving progressively, and government services and development projects are being undertaken. In fact, our economy is now one of the most reassuring.
Question. Allow me to ask this question on that issue of debt. Just allow me to ask you a question.
I would like,
there are those who are asking us a question.
You talked about the hustler.
There are those asking us a question here that, can you point to one project that is a direct result of this debt, that one infrastructure project, for example, that is a direct project from these debts, 3.5 trillion shillings, that is not being funded from other sources?
Now, let me tell you, Fred, you don't, the borrowing systems in terms of financial program may not necessarily be linked directly to a given project. It's not. And I cannot account that. I don't work at the Treasury. But the fact is...
Shouldn't it be obvious that this money was borrowed for this project? That is the same argument that President William Ruto said, that money was borrowed during Uhuru Kenyatta's time, and he could not link it to the projects.
Money is borrowed to cover the budget deficits. That's what is done. So then go back to the budget. What are the investment programs that were lined up in the project? Have they been implemented? Yes. Are projects being undertaken? Yes. Road construction are going on across the country, and very many other infrastructure programs across the country, and the activities around the pillars are going on across the country, and we have a stable economy that is reassuring, and that, if supported with time, the production sector of the economy is going to roar back to life. And
the question was about time.
A lot of jobs will be created.
The next 24 months.
About 24
is it enough time?
months. The next 24 months. Yes. It is going to be work in progress. And there will be more strong indicators of the success and achievements around the pillars on which the president was elected. It is not about the ballot in 2027 to the president and to the broad-based government and Kenya Kwanza administration. It is about delivering on the promise. By the time we clock 9th of August 2027, what is the work that shall have been done? So I don't think the president and the government is going to be deviated from continuing to deliver. A week is a long period in development of a country. Mm-hmm. And so the focus should be on delivery on the transformational pillars of our economy. And it's going to work. Look at housing, for example. It is fantastic. It's coming out right across the country, and it's going to revolutionize settlement in this country. And it's going to give the youth of this country hope to access decent and affordable
housing. You've just been talking about the challenges over the last 3 years and how they've affected the progress in as far as development is concerned. Less than 24 months to go. We're not certain that he's going to get a second term. Some of these projects are his legacy, even as president. Do you think he has a proper opportunity to actually turn the tides on some of these shortcomings?
The president, having survived a serious onslaught last year and this year, he has learned from what happened in those 2 occasions or 3 occasions. And I think if I were to be given a chance to be a president now, I will say no. And I'd say this one has survived strong challenges. And what has happened, the pressures that he was subjected to last year and this year have made him a strong man who has come out to be as a person who can manage diversity. Nobody knew that we were going to survive up to now. We have survived. Now, having survived those 3 challenges, then I think he is now properly equipped and prepared to cause changes that he would have caused the last 2 years and make sure that he causes some meaningful, tangible, and sustainable development in the next 1 year. Let's not even talk about 2027 now. We are sure by time like now, 13th of September, the year 2026, we'll be back here, all conditions remaining constant, and we'll come back here and say we have been able to push with the little time that we were given, because we had peace, there were no disruptions, we were able to recover what we lost the last 2 years. So I expect that all the noise that we are hearing around, all the criticism we are hearing around, by next year time like now, give us just 1 year, you'll see things have changed. Because
take you back to the point you made about the kind of trust deficit that you have or the broad-based arrangement, that some of these people who came in may have slowed down the president. They are still with him.
No. Let me tell you, I didn't need to say that, but I now say because I'm the presence of 2 teachers here, and when in the presence of teachers, you have to answer all the questions and make sure that you don't give a blank, paper. The answer is this: we are likely, in the next 2 months, see some changes in the government. 1 year is enough to observe, to make sure that this person is going to deliver or not. And the people who are going to be dropped, some of them will be dropped and they'll join the so-called opposition, go and join the opposition, but we are going to have people who are going to help us deliver on the
If I'm listening to you right, for the president to work and ensure things turn around, a cabinet reshuffle will be necessary.
There will be reshuffle.
Okay.
And they'll be dropping. You know, there is reshuffle is just working with you still a cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who love to go home. They have not delivered. There are some PSs who have to go home. And you know, that's not being personal. It's a matter, the fact of the matter, you have not delivered, go home. Kenya is bigger than you. So let's have people who can deliver.
Right. I'm looking at some of the feedback we're getting online, from both from Facebook and X. Tim Skipto says, and that's the question we have asked them to rate the president. Quite a number saying good. Tim Skips is one of them. Philip Sang, another. John Omula says he has performed very well in terms of uongo. Alfred Moine says excellent. Kamwara Newton, poor. Patrick Wasuka, poor. Omar Auser of Funafu, good. Harrison Kamau, very poor indeed. Taxes high, debts rising without any substantive development. Kiptum Tita says, I would have rated him excellent. However, because of not expanding tax base, overtaxing employed, he has dropped to good. Joel Lodung, high government Nishida 2, CEO Mambo na education, health, adduction, corruption. Mzalendo Kelvin Edwin says, fair so far. He needs to review cost of SHA for low-income people or non-income earners. A lot more. Let me just be fair to our audience as well, so that we get to what they're thinking. All right. The question is, as President Ruto marks 3 years in power, how would you rate the progress of his government in terms of development projects and service delivery? That poll is on X, and so far 71% say poor, 21% say fair, and about 7% say excellent. So yes, the poll is still on. You can take part in that.
Let me tell you.
Very briefly as we come to the
end. Let me tell you, Fred, something about that poll. Actually, our rating was 75%, so we are almost there. And 70% are people who are simply fed up. And I think, I like talking from a governance bigger, not going to personalities. I just told you, within the third year, people already make up their mind whether they are going to re-elect anybody. And I am speaking now generally on leadership. If you don't click with the masses, within 2.5 years, that's what's called a midterm review. People have already made up their mind. 75% have made up them about this government. Let me tell you what people are thinking, all the people you have talked to there. People are like, can we go to the next, think about the next option in 2027. And we are saying number one. Let me tell you something. He spoke about delivery 3 times. Delivery follows some systems and processes. Today, there is no unit, there is no specific office dealing with delivery in this country. There is one in the office of the president, another one doing the same thing in the advisors, the presidential advisors, doing some sort of delivery, trying to follow some projects. No organized way. There's some in the head of public service. There's another unit in the deputy president's office, another one in Musalia's office. And then there's a GDU that's supposed actually to do the work. Everybody else is running to do something. So there's no system of delivery. I can tell you that. Number 2, delivery, Fred, hates disruption. You cannot deliver in a political environment that is toxic. The moment people don't feel good about their lives, and I keep on saying that because it's important. One day, President Kibaki did a lot of work in some parts of this country. When he went to campaign, he was told, no, we didn't ask you for development. Take your tarmac and go with it. Because he mismanaged politics. I can tell you the problem in Kenya today is this. One, there was no intention. There was the purpose. The leaders of the government had not a lot of experience in governance. So they took a lot of politics into government, which is a mistake. But number 2, they didn't hear from their advisors. They didn't listen to the civil service. Number 3, there was a spoiled political environment by going into impeaching and all that. Let me tell you the way forward, because people want to see hope. 1, we are saying 1 term because we cannot proceed like this. But we are good enough. We don't want to go Nepal away. We are telling our young people, hold on a minute. Because we are Kenya, people are looking at us in the world. Kenya is a respected country. Let us hold on. But we want to tell you this, Fred. 1, first executive order after the elections on 10th of August 2027, we go back to NHIF. Second executive order, we scrap housing levy and restore the payslip. Okay? That executive order, we go back to help. The way it helped people. We just change it a bit. You know, you simply make it better. Don't kill it. You cannot be the one, Fred, since independence. You are the one who have come with all the new things, kill everything, Like you are the one that the world has been waiting for since Jomo Kenyatta days. So we have specific things we simply want to tell people. Hold on a minute. It's going to be painful. Look at the public debt. Do you know World Bank spends over 50 billion every year. Nobody knows where the money is going. It's a loan. We have to have serious policies and agreement that we cannot proceed that way. So one thing I can tell you, the hope we have for this country, don't have any hopes in this government. Nothing will change. Let me tell you the truth. Nothing, things will get worse.
All right.
You'll see more scandals, more kind of stories. The only hope we have this country is one term, so that we proceed to keep it going forward.
As we come to the end of this discussion, I want to give each one of you an opportunity to talk about something. There's a headline on the front page of the Standard on EACC now attacking prosecutor as ODPP defense dropped cases. This is on the issue of fighting corruption, that the EACC says we are doing our job. But once we hand over these cases to the ODPP, that is where we have all this withdrawal of cases. The president has come out and he was very keen to speak about the renewed fight against corruption only a few weeks ago. And we wonder if in such an environment, this is one of those things that the president could take some flack on, the fight against corruption. Because I'll give you only one chance to speak. Secondly, it's how the president is managing politics and these delegations that we're seeing at State House. When Association, I do understand that teachers are set to go to State House this week. 3,000 of them from all over the country. And one wonders, why is that even necessary for teachers to go to State House? What are they going to do there? If at all the president has done so well and employed 100,000 teachers, what do they need? They have a commission that takes care of their welfare. Why are teachers going to State House in this day and age? Let's start from there. As you make your final
thank
comments.
you. As I make my final comments, I would like to tell Mbeere that it is wrong to try and simplify and excite Kenyans that we are going to remove the housing levy and we are going to get back help funding to what it was, basically because of the challenges arising from what is being implemented now. Let me tell you, the legislative framework and policy framework around these programs is very progressive. For example, NSSF, there was a need to change the rates. NHIF, there was a need to recalibrate and change it to work so that it serves the modern challenges, and it is working. Housing is not going to go away. It is going to be a big thing for the current government and future governments. Coming to your current question, the president's meeting with teacher leaders under ILO UNESCO recommendations, the political and democratic rights of education workers is granted. And a tripartite meeting between employers, workers and government is quite welcome. It's what you call social dialogue. That is promoted. And the president, this is one president who has been so strong and passionate about social dialogue with educators. On 23rd of June, 2022, he signed an education charter after extensive consultation and negotiation with educators. That was a high-level meeting, a very serious policy meeting, which gave birth to the current programs that are being implemented by the government. And we inaugurated the Presidential Working Party to actualize the charter once he was elected as president. He has been meeting teachers' unions at State House to discuss various matters afflicting and affecting education. This high-level meeting on Saturday between the president and the teacher leaders, teachers' unions and their associations is well aligned. It is within ILO UNESCO framework, so it is not guesswork, and it's about discussing the matters affecting education and educators in this country. And there's been a lot of preparation towards the same. It is going to be a major policy meeting between teachers and their president on matters affecting education. And it is always a welcome opportunity for teachers to engage the president directly. Remember, with all these direct engagements, a lot of things have been done for teachers, including salaries, employment of more teachers. It's not 80. It is going to be, within this budget, it's going to be 100,000. A lot has been done about recalibration of CBC, and things are working better than it was before. And therefore, this high-level meeting with the president is basically to audit the success in the education sector and to identify the challenges, and collectively, in one voice, the president and the teacher leaders to chart the way forward. There is no way you can improve quality of education anywhere in the world without allowing democratic and political rights of teachers to operate, including engaging the highest
because of time, I want to give the rest.
And in fact, this is the first president in Africa to engage teachers directly in a structured manner. I think the other president who did in a similar manner was Barack Obama in the US. So this is a good indicator for work and programs in the education sector.
Asante sana. Final comments, Bwana Mutuku.
Let people, all and sundry, know that there is no confusion in Nairobi as far as the functions, operations of service delivery is concerned. It is appalling when I hear at the national level there's that confusion. There are different units here and there. In Nairobi, the only unit that is there is where I am the head and is functioning. There is nobody can sabotage that. 2, the corruption issue of ESCC and ODPP. It is very annoying when we hear such institutions fighting and blaming one another. I hope now, because it's here and we saw them in the Senate, blaming one another, there is another now body that is either the president or something or another institution calls them into order and make sure that they are accountable, because this blame game, if it is left continue, we are not likely to get results. Then number 3, about politics and professionalism. We are first of all professionals before we become politics. And the fact that you are a politician does not make you a less professional. So the people who look at politics in the negative, like my dear brother Peter, when he says that there are people brought a lot of politics in government, the politics is simply the power to say yes to good things and the power to say no to bad things. And finally, the State House visits. I wish they were even they could extend to the extent that the president can even call the official opposition at State House and discuss matters. Because if the president decided to talk to the teachers and decided let's have a meeting somewhere in Machakos, in a certain hall somewhere in Machakos, people will say that is politics, is campaigning. But when he calls them, after all, the State House belongs to who?
The people.
To us. So in fact, I wish if they are listening with these people, after this they should call all of 3 of us for tea and say, here you said the right thing, here you did not say the right thing. So State House is for all of us. Let's expand the scope, and over and above, the president is expected to change, and it is only by next year, time like now, we are going to lay the foundation for the next phase of second term or no term. Thank you.
Asante sana. Finally,
thank you. My few seconds. One, Peter, my namesake. If you are the head of delivery in Nairobi, do a poll on your own self and ask yourself how many Nairobians are satisfied with what you are doing.
I thought we are discussing national matters.
No, well, you mentioned about you being Nairobi.
I am the head of service delivery in Nairobi.
Be very careful because your rating could be as low as a negative of 80. So just see what you can do. Number two, quickly, you talk about corruption. Very simple. Everything lies and falls on leadership. According to my mentor on leadership, John Maxwell. Fred, don't go looking for many things. It starts from the top. If the head of government and state does not see the need to fight corruption, you don't have to do anything else. Nothing will happen. Simple, political goodwill. I'm telling you that leadership starts from the top. And any nation, any county government or any institution will never rise beyond the vision of the leader. The personality of the leader, Adolf Hitler, Nelson Mandela, the personality of the leader is what determines the direction the country or nation will go. So if the personality is in a certain way. They want to scatter about issues. They are not serious. They say one thing in the boardroom, and in the media, you see it. So that's a summary. I'm just giving a principle on leadership and governance. So don't ask many questions. It's just drama. You want everything to report to you, so that you can scatter around and decide which cases go to court. Number 2, state of the delegations. Ask yourself, Fred, when we were in Karen, the time we were looking for this government, there were so many delegations in Karen, if you remember. But then, this was a harassed DP who was trying to show how he was harassed by the President Uhuru Kenyatta, trying to gain favor. So he'd call people and say, you see, me, I'm being harassed. He was then in opposition, so to speak. You cannot do the same things when you're president. 3 years later, you should have sorted all those things because you're in power. So you can't repeat the things you used to do when you're in position and you're in government. Look at the things you used to give the wheelbarrows, you remember, in Karen. You can't do the same now. You should have transformed the rise of the people to go and buy for themselves sewing machines and car washing machines. You can't do that. Now, that very quickly, you used to go and be received across the country by people clapping, but not because you can't face them. You are calling a few people to come and give them money. Then you remember he campaigned on a free, popular president, all over the place. But now you have to call a few people, give them money. And finally, I want to say this. We have no time to be called by anybody to talk about anything as opposition. Okay. Time is gone. We are waiting for 10th of August, 2027, for the showdown. Fred, allow me to say, it's very sad when people are killed. These assassinations, let me tell you, Fred, violence begets violence. Blood calls for more blood. When people when such things happen, other people begin getting ideas how to deal with their opponents. So when Ongondo is killed, when this lawyer is killed, people begin to think, oh, I have a problem with somebody politically, business-wise, relationships. Okay. I can use the same thing. This should not be condoned. The same way, whereas people were found, we need to let's not condone the issue of killing people. Right. Please, let's handle our conflicts in a better way.
Thank you very much, Dr. Peter Mbeere, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at DCP, Wilson Sosion, Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, who has served as SG of KNUT and also as a member of the National Assembly, and Peter Mutuku Mutua, Leadership and Governance Expert and now in charge of delivery in this great county of Nairobi.
The cleanest.
Yes, karibu sana. Thank you for your time at TV47. Yes, indeed.
Absent Governor.
The big headlines on the front pages, assassins on wheels. This is one story we did not really pay much attention to today, but that assassination, we saw another high-profile assassination in Nairobi earlier this week. House Lane lawyer was ambushed. Same story on the front page of the Daily Nation. It is there on the front page of the Star as well. Down here, the pictures and the steps are followed by the assassins, but the big story there is the EACC attacks prosecutor as ODPP defense dropped cases. I think the only positive headline I've seen is this on Business Daily, how Kenya Power will pay homes and farms for blackouts. Well, a lot more coming up on Morning Cafe after the break. My name is Fred Indemuli. Let's hope for better headlines tomorrow. Good morning.